In this week's episode of Working with Todoist, we're going back to simplification. Hello and welcome to this 126th episode of Working with Todoist. My name is Carl Pauline, and in today's episode we need to get back to simplifying. The reason for this is over the last few weeks I've noticed an increasing trend in the comments on these videos where people are experiencing difficulties not because of Todoist or anything else other than the fact that what they're trying to do is to put way too much information into Todoist. Now, if you want to be productive, you need to create hard edges. Now, I've created videos on this before, and I'll put a link in the notes section below just to help you out with that. But one of the important things, if you really want a strong, solid productivity system, you need to have some hard edges between your applications. So your to-do list manager has your tasks and the things that you have to do. Your calendar is a place where you put your appointments and events and places that you need to be, when and with who. And your note-taking application, whether it's Evernote or Apple Notes or OneNote or whatever, that is where you put the support material for your tasks and for your events. Now you need to keep it very clean and you need to keep the edges very hard, and I've covered this many times, but as I've been reviewing the comments over the last few days, I realize, the problem is still overcomplicating what you're trying to get Todoist to do. Remember, Todoist is just a to-do list manager, and that is what it does best. It's not a note-taking application, it's not a calendar, it's designed to tell you what needs to be done either in a specific place if you use labels, or on a specific project if you're using the projects. So let's go into Todoist now, and I'll show you what we mean. Before we do that, don't forget, if you like this video, please click on the like button below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe to the channel. Oh, and one other thing. Recently, I just updated my Supercharge Your Productivity online course. That course does have a lesson on Todoist. So if you are interested in really learning how to get your productivity system working well, efficiently, so that you have more time to focus on the important things, then please have a look at this course. I'll put the details in the notes section below, and if you want to enroll, I'd be most grateful. Okay, let's get into Todoist and we'll see how to simplify things. Okay, so here we are in my demo account now, because I can always tell I've only ever done 637 tasks in my demo account. And basically what we see here is a load of stuff in here that really shouldn't be in here. Now, for example, when I did the demonstration on how to connect your Google Calendar with your Todoist, what I've found is that I've made sure that all these come through. So I've got teaching, administration, teaching. All these things here should be on your calendar. They don't need to be in Todoist. So what I would do is, if I was going to start cleaning these things up, I can notice that some of these are actually down as well, shall we say, they're down as recurring tasks. In fact, all of them are recurring tasks. So even if I just hit that now, that's still going to come up on Monday. Administration is going to come up on Monday, Tuesday, and so on and so forth. So what I would do is I would go through all of these and I would remove the dates. Now, I'm doing a test here because I'm trying to see if these can be done. So schedule, I want to remove the schedule, so no due date, all removed. I've actually got this one stuck over there, so let's just get rid of that and save that. So these are now, I've removed all the dates, and to do that you just highlight them all by clicking on the grab handle there with holding down the shift key, and down at the bottom there hold down the shift key and tap. It's not doing it. It should be doing it. Okay, we'll do it the hard way. This has gone all funny because I'm now using the internet, and that's all gone really weird. So I'm just going to do a refresh on that. And remember, I'm using the internet here, not this. This isn't likely to happen in the application itself. And no, it's not working on there. But anyway, what I would do is I would just delete these off anyway. You could have deleted them off by doing it that way, but I'm just going to get rid of these completely because I don't want them in my work. They are in their calendar events. They don't need to be into my Todoist as well as my calendar, so I can get rid of those. Okay, now we're going to go on to let's go into the sample project because I created this as a good demonstration. So what we've got in here is we've got basically a mess because first of all there's no order to it and there's no logic to it at all. We've got all sorts of things. Call Jim, but call Jim about what? There's no the task itself is okay because it's got a verb, an action verb called call Jim. And that's okay, and you've got the label down as call, so that's actually quite good. You've got a label, but the problem I've got here is I have no idea what I need to call Jim about. This has probably been added in the middle of a meeting, call Jim, and then I thought, oh no, what do I need to call Jim about? So let's go into this actually, call Jim, and then I'm just going about when we can expect the targets. Now the thing is, when you write your tasks like this, what happens is it's much easier to make that decision. So you've got like 3 or 4 minutes before a meeting starts and think, oh yeah, I need to call Jim about these targets. So you can just send him, or you can just make that quick call. But if it says call Jim, you're going to spend 5 or 10 minutes thinking about, oh damn, what do I need to call Jim about? So make sure when you're writing your tasks, the tasks are very, very clear about what it is you're supposed to do. I know it takes a few more seconds to write a full sentence, but seriously, if on Friday morning you had a meeting and you typed in call Jim, there's a good chance on Monday morning you're going to have no idea why you need to call Jim and you're going to have to go through all your notes. It's just a waste of time. So call Jim about when we expect targets. If you make your calls from your mobile device, by the way, I would suggest that you put in the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put the number in there because when you're on your mobile phone will recognize that as a telephone number. Boy, does that save you a lot of time. Okay, moving on. Need to write report about meeting we had yesterday. Again, this is not very clear. If you had a meeting on Friday and you wrote that in, again on Monday you're not likely to actually have a problem. Now again, at least you've got a label there. You're going to write it in the office. Need to write a report about, and I would say locating purple fabric. Okay, now that is a much clearer one because it's going to jog your memory about what it is that you really want to do. Again, you've got one here, call Sarah about presentation. First of all, you've got no label, but I would say APB 2018 presentation. You just add that in there, and I would add in calls, so then that's added. So okay, so we got these targets up here, and I would look at this one here, continue working on there. So that's going to be at the office, and the good news about this one is we've actually got a link directly to the Evernote note that we were using, so that's great. So now I've got these, what I would probably do is I would actually put that up there, and I would put that one up there. And I would try and decide at this point which ones are important and which not. So need to write on that. I'm going to flag that one as an important task. So that's flagged. I need to call Jim about the targets. Let's say that's not so important. So I put that. And we're working on the presentation. So I'm going to add a red flag for Sarah. And that is now much, much cleaner. And it's much more clearer about what it is that you want to do. Going further down, we've got a slide designs here. Okay, this one does, again, it needs a bit of editing. So slides design for a PB presentation needs, you see now, we've not got a verb. So find out is going to be find out the, so again, what we're trying to do is we're giving ourselves a fighting chance, basically. And I would call that calls, because actually we'll say that in the office. So we're going to go in the office, find out that's APB from, and let's say from Nicola. Now we've got a much clearer thing. So again, what I would do is I would add a tag Nicola. I don't have one, so we're going to create the label. Nicola has created the label. No, it hasn't. So what we need to do, it keeps changing. So let's go shift Nicola. And you just tap on that. So now we've created a lag for Nicola, because Nicola is probably a work. Now I've got a really, now it's really beginning to come together. What theme? So at least we got a label there for theme. What theme for APB 2018 presentation? And I know this might seem a little bit obsessive, but the problem that we have is when we look at our presentation file, when we look at our Todoist, we need to make sure it's very, very clear that what we have to do. And so that's why it's very important to go in there and make sure that your tasks are really clear about what it is that you want to do. Now, if I hit the P key, what happens there is all these priority tasks will go to the top. Now, the thing is, this is a sub topic, which if you look at what I've created, I've just used the colon and the exclamation marks. But if I actually flag that as a red tag and then save, I don't think anything's going to happen, but yes, it does. It jumps up to the at the top of the list because I'm doing this by priority. If I do S, by the way, if I click on S, that will then do it by date. So S does it by date, P does it by priority. So if I click on P, and that brings it up by priority. So as you see, we've got things now, but this is beginning to look a lot better. So what theme for the APB presentation? Call Jim about when we can expect the targets. Now, this one is another call that's in. Continue working on it. It's all nice and done. Pitch should be done by Thursday. Again, this one, so APB pitch should be done by Thursday. That really needs to be in the calendar, so I would actually remove that one and I would put that into my calendar. Invitations is another one. Find out about invitations, and again let's just say poor Nicola because she's the designer, so let's get that over there. Find out about, so we've got another one for Nicola, and get targets from Nicola. We just need to add in the label for Nicola and get APB targets. I would put APB targets, and then that's clear. Let's say this is very important, so I'm going to make that one red, and I'm going to click done and then hit the P key again, and what will happen is that's going to go up to the top because presentation there is also, so if I wanted to I could actually move that above that. But there we go. Now I've actually cleaned up this project and I've shown you how you can actually make it much, much clearer on being able to get your projects all sorted out nice and cleanly. Okay, so now that we've got the calls in there, all I need to do is go into my labels and there's all my calls. I've got 2 urgent calls to make and I got 1 call from Jim, and that's what I could work from if I decided for the next 30 minutes I'm going to do telephone calls. And also, if you keep your labels nice and clean and so they are actually meaningful, for example, I've actually got iPhone down here and I got 1 in there. So what I'm going to do is I've changed that one. I would remove iPhone and I would just go over here and then type at calls and save, and then I'm going to remove iPhone because it's duplicating a label. So keep your labels nice and clean because that way you're going to make sure that you can use your labels are usable, and that's really quite important if you are actually trying to make sure that Todoist stays very clean. Okay, hopefully that brief explanation about how to clean up a project and make it actually meaningful for you has given you some ideas, but please guys, Don't try and get Todoist to keep your notes and to keep your events and appointments. There's a place for those places, for those things, and it shouldn't be Todoist. Notes, as you know, remember when we did this one a while ago, this links directly to Evernote. So I've got all my notes to do with the presentation is linked in there, and I can just hit that and it'll take me straight to Evernote. That's the way to organize your Todoist, and it doesn't take long, as you see, to clean up a project. You just need to make sure that you're reviewing this on a regular basis and you will be fine. Okay, thank you very much for watching this episode. I hope you found it useful. Please join me again in the next episode, and it just remains for me to wish you all a very, very productive week.